So the last 2 days around here have been really rainy and gross because of the hurricane, and as you can see, this is some of the aftermath. We have a lot of leaves everywhere, but overall we're good. We didn't lose power or anything, so I hope anybody else that's watching this that was in the path that you're doing okay. So I decided that we would make some comfort food. This is not a healthy dish, but very delicious. This is some chicken fat left over from making the chicken stock and canned chicken a couple of days ago, and you can look back on that a few vlogs ago. But I'm going to make some gumbo. So this is 2/3 cup of oil. I use the chicken fat, and then I use some avocado oil, and then you're going to add a heaping cup of flour here into this. So as you can see, not healthy but definitely delicious. So I put my heat on just a medium or a low medium heat, and just keep stirring this for a good 30 minutes. And you want this to be dark and look a lot like chocolate. Now, when you see the end result of this in my video, it's a lot lighter in the video than it is in person. So it's a lot darker for me than what you're going to see. But I just keep stirring this for 30 minutes, and I work on the other components of this dish, and I just come back to stirring this when I think about it. So now I'm just going to prep all of my vegetables. You need green pepper. I actually bought some okra, and I totally forgot to put it in this dish. So we didn't have okra in it this time. I didn't know if the kids would like the okra anyway. And I did get a lot of okra out of the garden this year, but I breaded the okra and put it in a Ziploc bag, and that okra probably wouldn't have worked in here. So I didn't want to use that. I just made it like that for frying whenever we wanted it. Then you're gonna add an onion. And you can add as much or as little or whatever you want into this dish. You can add it or not add it, but it also called for celery, and I think I've mentioned before, we are not a celery family, so I did not add celery to this. So the meats that you want to add to this, or the meats that I chose to add, this is andouille sausage, and it was okay. I've never had andouille sausage before, but it's what the recipe called for. I usually would use a kielbasa sausage, so if I make this again, I may use that instead. But this is andouille sausage, and I prefer the all beef, but the store only had one all beef, and I wanted to add two. We do have a lot of boys that live here, so one of them was all beef, and then one of them was just a mixture. So then you want to brown your sausage in a different pan, and what you're doing by doing this is you're getting some flavor. So I'm going to brown this here, and then I'm going to use the vegetables and some chicken stock to get the flavor up from that sausage, and then we're going to add all of that into the gumbo base. So when the andouille sausage is nice and brown like this, you want to just take it out of the pan here and try to reserve the oil and juices that are left over in there, and that way you can cook your vegetables in that and kind of deglaze the pan so that you could keep all of that delicious flavor. And yes, I know it would have been better if I would have used a different spoon to get this out. It took forever. So I'm just adding my peppers and onions in here, and then I'm going to take about a half a cup of chicken stock, and this is actually the chicken stock we canned up in the last video that I put out, and that will help deglaze the pan. Oh yes, I'm also adding a little bit of garlic because I did not have any fresh garlic on hand, so that's just dried minced garlic. And then here's the chicken stock, and we're just going to add a half a cup of that just to get this pan deglazed and keep all the flavors. And then we're going to take all of this and add it to that, I guess, like dark gravy that we're making for the gumbo in the big stock pot pan. You really want to get in there with your spatula and really scrape up all the flavor that you can off the bottom. So I'm just going to keep watching this and stirring this so that it doesn't burn. And like I said, it's going to take a good 20 to 30 minutes to get this to the right, very dark chocolatey color that it needs to be. And this is just building more and more flavor for your gumbo. So it's finally at the depth that I want it to be, and I'm just adding my vegetables in. And then I'm going to add in the chicken stock. It calls for 6 to 8 cups of chicken stock. You can add as much as you like to make it as thick or as thin of a stew. And then I'm going to add in my andouille sausage. And then this is some canned chicken that I canned the other day. This is one of the cans that did not seal, so I put that in the refrigerator. You could use a rotisserie chicken for this, or you can just boil some chicken while you're making the other components. So here you can see that it's still pretty thick, so I'm adding some boxed chicken stock that I have in the refrigerator that was already open. So I probably added about 6 cups of stock to mine here. This is also when you would add the okra if you were adding that to this, but like I said, it is still in my freezer. Totally forgot to put that in there, and I think it would have been delicious. So here's another time where you can put in as much or as little as you want, but this is the Cajun seasoning, or you could use Creole seasoning. I added about 1.5 tablespoons here, and that was plenty for me. Not everyone in my family likes it really, really spicy, so I went a little bit low on that spice. So this is where you'll want to taste it and just see what you feel like that it needs or doesn't need by your family's preferences. And mine definitely needed some salt and some pepper, so I added it here. And this dish also calls for shrimp, but you don't want to add your shrimp in until closer to when you're going to serve it, or the shrimp will become overdone. So my husband called me and told me he was on his way home, so I knew that it was the perfect time to add this shrimp so dinner would be ready when he got home. So I actually thawed the shrimp a little bit and put it in the refrigerator that morning. So I added the shrimp, and here you can see after maybe 5 minutes it's cooked up perfectly in this gumbo now. And I made some rice for this. That is traditionally what you would eat this with. You could do brown rice, jasmine rice, but I just made some white rice, and then you put a healthy scoop of your gumbo on top of that, and then I had some green onions that I cut up to put on the top, and my whole family really enjoyed this meal, and we even had some leftovers. Thanks for watching.